Excerpt from Little and Lion by Brandy Colbert. It's bizarre to be so nervous about seeing the person who knows me best, but the last year hasn't been so kind to Lionel and me. I'm standing outside LAX on a sun-soaked afternoon in early June when my brother's navy blue sedan screeches to a halt a few feet away. Part of me doesn't mind that he's 30 minutes late because I really needed the time to get used to the idea of being back home. But now he's here, and my heart is thumping like it's going to jump out of my mouth, and there's nowhere to go. Lionel bolts from the car and barely looks at me before he starts rummaging around in the trunk, shoving aside a plastic crate filled with used books to make room for my luggage. "I'm so sorry," he mutters. "The freeway was a nightmare."
No such thing as traffic back in Avalon, Massachusetts. People don't honk their horns. They put up with totally inconsiderate bullshit, like neighbors stopping their bubbles and sobs in the middle of the street-lined cars to chat with friends, clogging up the road so no one else can pass. LA drivers would honk their horns until they went dead while flipping them off and threatening murder. And I've missed that. Lionel places my bags into the trunk, slams it closed, and turns to give me a quick hug. But it feels perfunctory, and that makes me stiffen in his arms, and I wonder why we're acting like strangers. I relax a bit when I notice he smells so much like he's supposed to smell, like the coziness of our house and the mustiness of his car, which is always filled with hiking shoes and old books. I'm almost overwhelmed with the reality of actually being home and standing next to Lionel. For a while now, not just a weekend or a few days clustered around a hectic holiday, I'm home for the summer. "Good to see you, Little," he says, pulling away as he tugs one of the black dreadlocks that hangs in the middle of my back. That name never sounded so good. My brother calls me Suzette only when he's feeling anxious, and I'm relieved that he seems so calm right now. I smile and pretend like I'm not examining every little inch of him for changes. Yeah, I don't look too East Coasty. I glance down at his thumbs. Before, they were shredded, the size of them forever bitten and spotted with red. Now they are smooth and the skin is clean, and I think that's a good thing too. He squints at me, blinks, shakes his head. "Nah, they haven't broken me yet." When the hell did you get that?" My fingers automatically go up to the tiny gold hoop on my face. It's a septum piercing. Badass, but still classy, according to the girl at the tattoo shop who put the needle through my nose in Avalon. "Do you like it?" He leans closer, his eyes glued to the jewelry. "Yeah, never pictured it on you, but I dig it." "Does Nadine know?" Nadine doesn't know. She's my mother, and she's been with Lionel's father, Saul, since I was 6 and Lionel was 7. We merged households 2 years later. Lionel and I have called each other brother and sister since then, and that surprises people at first, because he's white and I'm black. But we've been built-in best friends for practically our entire lives, until last fall, when boarding schools separated the inseparable. "Let's move it along, people," a sturdy man wearing a fluorescent vest booms, gesturing toward the cars backed up in the lane surrounding us. We hustle to our respective sides of the car, and a few seconds later, Lionel successfully steers us out of the throng of airport traffic amid the honking horns and hissing shuttle brakes. I turn to my window and zone out as we make our way from the west side of the city to the east, thinking about what I have to do now that I'm home. Hug Dee Dee, find out how Lionel has really been doing, because as much as I want to believe he seems well, deep down inside, I don't think he is. Figure out if I want to go back to Massachusetts and face the mess I left, or fight to stay here where things are another kind of difficult. My eyes sting as Lionel swings the car onto our street, and I tell myself, I'm tired. Fuck, I miss this place. I blink almost violently as our olive green Victorian comes into view with its fishtail shingles and maroon trim, the turret at the top that houses my bedroom. We live in the historic district of LA. The streets of our neighborhood lined with all types of gorgeous Victorian and craftsman houses But I swear, ours gets the most lingering looks when people drive or walk by. It's been 6 months since I was home, and now I'm the one who can't tear my eyes away. Our parents are sitting together on the wooden swing that hangs from the porch, but they pop right up when we pull into the drive. Saul comes bounding down first, his big arms engulfing me before I even emerge from the car. "We've missed you so much, kiddo." "Missed you too." I kind of can't wait to hear him humming Coco Cabana over fried eggs. He gives me one last squeeze and pulls back, and I smile as I take his strawberry blonde hair that's silvered at the temples and the creases of laugh lines around his mouth. He has Lionel's same oceanic blue eyes, the ones that convey every ounce of emotion. Father and son scoop up my bags and then take them inside, leaving me alone with my mother. She looks pretty in wide leg linen pants and a white top that contrasts perfectly with her warm brown skin and short afro dyed the color of dark cherries. She notices my new piece of jewelry. Her eyebrows raise slightly as her gaze sweeps over me, but she doesn't say anything about it. Her eyes are wet as she blinks at me, as she soothes a palm softly over the side of my face. "Oh, sweet pea, I really missed you."
I missed you too, I say, folding myself into her hug. I spent the first few weeks at school seething through the phone calls from her and Saul, but the longer I was there, the more my anger faded until it mostly manifested on the days I particularly missed home and my brother. I know she really thought what she did was for the best for all of us by sending me away. I know how easy it is to believe you're doing the right thing if you say it to yourself often enough. Lionel's bedroom door is cracked when I walk downstairs, so I stop and I knock and he says to come in. It looks the same. The forest green comforter, rumpled, twisted up with his bed sheets, sneakers and sandals lying around the room where they were kicked off. None of them have landed anywhere near their match. The poster hanging above his bed, suggesting Hunter S. Thompson for sheriff. And books. Everywhere there are books. Instead of shelving them alphabetically, he sorted the spines by theme. Feminists reside next to dead white guys. My brother has a sense of humor. And then there are the African novelists who he is separated by country. Nonfiction takes up an entire 3-shelf bookcase. "What's up?" Lionel says from his spot at the foot of the bed. He's sprawled out on the floor with a book approximately the size of a telephone directory. "What are you reading?" I ask, leaning against the frame. "This is the year I'm finally doing it." He sticks his finger between the pages to hold his place. I give him a quizzical look until he turns the cover my way. Infinite Jest. "Oh," I shake my head. "That looks like homework." He shrugs. "I'm up for the challenge. What are you up to?" "Going to see if they need my help with dinner," I say, pointing towards the stairs. Lionel nods, then gives me a sly grin. "I heard you talking to Emma this morning." My face instantly flushes. I forgot his bedroom is directly above the porch. "What were you doing up?" He didn't mention this at breakfast. "I could ask you the same thing." He slides an envelope into the book for a more permanent marker and sits up. "Was that planned? For him to stop by?" "Jesus, no, okay?" I touch my face to see if it's still warm, and I guess that answers any lingering questions of how I feel about Emma Choi. The last person I was with was a girl, Iris. But I know the feeling you get when you think about someone you want to kiss, and that feeling doesn't change when I replace Iris with Emma.
I haven't talked to Emil since I was home last. He saw me sitting out there and he stopped. "Okay," he says in the singing-sounding voice he usually specifically uses to irritate me. And I think, how good this feels. Lionel teasing me like he used to. For a while, everything with him was either urgent or miserable, and there was no in-between. I saw hints of his old self coming back when I was home over the winter break, but I felt like I let him down by leaving for Dinsmore. He didn't trust me enough to completely be himself around me. What about you, I asked. Anyone special? Nah. I take a deep breath before I say what I say because I know he could be touchy about it. Do you still talk to anyone? He blinks at me. Like a therapist? That's kind of part of the deal. Dr. Tarash and I are real tight. No, I mean, Dee Dee says she doesn't really see you around anymore. You don't hang out with them. I know for a fact that he isn't hanging around with our friends. She told me last week that she hadn't seen my brother outside of school since I invited her over to dinner during winter break. People ask too many questions, Lionel says, looking down at the closed book in front of him. But they're your friends. I step into the room now. They care. Dee Dee asks about you all the time. Well, little, they stopped caring so much after you left. He's not unkind, just matter of fact. So maybe they're your friends now. I open and close my mouth without speaking, but Lionel doesn't want a response. He's removing the envelope from the book, creasing down the page where he left off. See you at dinner, he says without looking up. And before I would have urged him to talk about it. But now we're back to where we were. Not yet. And that was my clue to leave. So I stepped back into the hallway and shut the door. Mom and Saul are down in the kitchen tending to the food for Shabbat dinner. Saul always closed up his wood shop early on Fridays to come home and make challah, and that hasn't changed. I find him pulling the ball of dough from a bowl that he set aside so he can rise. Hey, kiddo, he says, smiling as I walk over to the island. Mom looks up from the post at the stove, protected by a black apron that sports bunches of dancing grapes. Hi there, sweet pea. Can I help with the bread? We've got everything under control, Mom says, clapping the lid back over the heavy pot of soup. This is our first Shabbat dinner with you back, Suze. We just want you to relax. I'm not a guest, I say it so fervently that they stop looking my way and they glance at each other. I mean, I want to help if I can. It's been a while since I've been here for this. Of course, Saul says, quickly stepping aside to make room for me at the island. He will clean up before dinner, but right now he still smells like varnish and freshly cut wood from the shop. And that really does make me feel like this is old times. Here, I'm just getting ready to separate this thing and then we can start braiding. I feel Mom watching me as I wash my hands and walk over to stand beside him. I see her looking at Saul as she talks about me with her eyes. Then she's by the island looking at me and talking with her mouth. Suzette, I understand if you're still angry with me. With us, she says. You know, we never really wanted to send you away, but Lionel's illness took us all by surprise, and we could see how much it was eating at you. And I felt at the time that I needed to step in and do something about that. Ease your load. And ease your load too, I asked, quietly staring at the floor. I've never said that much to her, but I've always wondered. We've talked about this before, but emotions were running so high last summer that I mostly pretended to listen when she talked about why I needed to go away. Now, I can hear the sincerity and regret in her voice. Oh, Suzette, oh, baby. She sounds so sad when I look up. She's blinking like she might cry. You've never been a burden on me or Saul. Never, Saul added, putting an arm around me. We never want you to think that. But we didn't know how to handle everything when this was all so new, when Lionel was still trying to figure out his routine. We didn't want you to start resenting your brother for something that isn't his fault, and we didn't handle that well either. They sent extravagant care packages and called all the time and came to visit me, even when it wasn't Parents' Weekend. I never once doubted that they loved me, but I didn't realize how much I needed to hear this, that I wasn't a burden until I do. A lump rises in my throat. The sort of this signals tears of relief, tears that release me from thinking there was ever a scenario in which my parents truly didn't want me around. I look down at the island to blink them away. We messed up, Mom says. We thought not having you to watch Lionel adjust his treatment would be healthier for you, allow you to concentrate more on your own life. We should have talked to you more, kept you in the loop, and I am so sorry. We're both sorry, Saul says. You're a good kid. You've always been honest, and you deserve the same from us. I don't know what to say. It's not every day your parents apologize to you for fucking up. That part about me, always being honest, wasn't totally true. Just say that you'll try to enjoy your summer as much as you can. Mom kisses my cheek. I think I can do that, I say with a smile. Mom goes back to the stove. Saul pulls apart the dough in front of us and places a piece next to me on the butcher block surface. I roll it into a long rope between my palms, set it aside, and wait for the next one. He looks over and grins at my quick work. A few hours later, we're all assembled around the table in nicer clothes, and Lionel and Saul are wearing their depot. Mom and I light the candles and say the blessing together. My Hebrew is a little rusty, but the cadence of the words is so ingrained in me that it comes back after the first couple of lines. We don't always do the blessing of the children, mostly because Lionel has complained that we're getting too old for it. But tonight, Mom and Saul ignore his grumblings and place their hands atop each of our heads as they recite the separate prayers for boys and girls. Saul whispers something to Lionel that I can't hear after the blessing, and then when it's my turn, he says, I love you and missed you very much. After the Kaddish, Mom turns and wraps her arms tightly around me. Good shovels, baby. I didn't tell many people in Avalon that I'm Jewish. I wasn't the only Jewish person there, not by far. But people have too many questions when you're Black and Jewish. My situation isn't really that hard to comprehend. Mom and Saul got together. We were slowly introduced to Saul's lifelong traditions, and Mom and I decided to convert when I was 11. But it's too much for some people to handle. Like, you must offer up an extra special reason for converting to Judaism if you have a certain type of brown skin. Not to mention the girls in my dorm weren't the most tolerant bunch, as I quickly learned. So I never joined the weekly band rides to the temple or the Shabbat dinners hosted by the Jewish Student Association, even though its presence was one of the reasons Mom and Saul chose Dinsmore in the first place. Lionel has never been that into religion and does just enough to keep Saul happy. He thought it was funny how excited I was for his bat mitzvah and rolled his eyes when I admitted I didn't mind the Hebrew lessons we took as kids. We're Reformed Jews, and the Nusfam Mitchell household is more cultural than religious these days. But we still celebrate a lot of the holidays and eat Shabbat dinner each week. No exceptions. And I found myself missing every part of it while I was away. Good shovels, I say, and I hug Saul, and Lion hugs Mom, and Saul hugs my mother, and then it's Lion and me. His hug is as tight, but a little stiff, and I wonder if he's still annoyed from earlier. I called Dee Dee to ask if there was something she wasn't telling me, but she didn't pick up. She texted me later reminding me that she was up in Los Olivos for the day with her dad. How does it feel to be back, Sweet Pea? Mom asked, passing the platter of roast chicken my way. I slept through dinner last night, and now it's strange being with my family on a Friday evening instead of eating pizza in the dorm or bribing an upperclassman to drive us into town. I want to exaggerate, tell my mother this is the first time I felt like myself since I was here for winter break, but that's not true. I felt like myself whenever I was with Iris. Good. Except I can't shake the time and change thing. It feels so late already. Saul takes the challah that Lionel offers and breaks off a piece of the bread we made together. Well, it seems like you've managed to avoid picking up that hideous New England accent. My brother went to Boston College when I was a kid and came back sounding like a Kennedy. Yeah, but they say I have a California accent. I didn't even think we had accents out here. I carefully scoop a piece of Hasselback potato on my plate. The food was actually pretty good at Dinsmore, but we didn't have dinners like this. You can tell the difference when someone is cooking simply because it's their job and when a meal is lovingly prepared by people who missed having you around. They think everything about LA is vapid. That's so lazy, Lionel finally speaks. People who say that are the same ones who come out here and go to those shithead tourist spots and then complain that the city has no culture. Don't say shithead, Mom, when she says it. And I heard the same things from the girls at Wellesley ages ago. They made LA sound soulless. Thank God you didn't listen to them, Saul says, winking when my mother looks over. She hides shyly behind her wine glass. They still have little moments like this. It's like embarrassing and kind of cute and gross all at once. Sometimes I wonder if I'll ever find someone I like as much as my mother likes Saul. Not just love, but like. And thank God you're back, he continues, looking at me. I miss my museum buddy. Want to hit up LACMA next week? Absolutely. I look over at Lionel, who's shoving roast chicken into his mouth. Hey, what are you doing tomorrow night? What I'm doing for the next 3 months of my life? Hot date with David Foster Wallace, he says between mouthfuls. Why? Dee Dee's having a party for me. A welcome back thing. What do you think? He finishes chewing, shrugs. Maybe. I kind of feel like laying low this weekend. But I just got back. I say, perhaps knowing I should let it go, but not wanting to. It's going to be everyone you already know. Dee, Emil, Tommy, Katie. Well, I guess Katie isn't exactly a selling point, but still, it won't be the same without you. I'll think about it a little, he says. But his eyes tells me to drop it. My mother starts talking then, and we spend the rest of the dinner discussing what they're all been up to. She brings up a screenplay she's working on, like what she does every so often, and says she still can't believe people pay for her to make up stories, even though screenwriting has been her full-time job for a couple of years now. Saul tells us about the recent string of overbearing, eccentric clients at his wood shop. I glance at Lionel a couple of times, but he zoned out. At the end of the meal, Saul says my return has granted Lionel and me a get out of kitchen duty pass for the evening. Hey, I say to my brother as we take our dishes to the sink, I haven't been out to the treehouse yet. Want to go up and hang out for a while? It's our spot, a parent-free escape where we are used to doing homework and listening to music, or we can just talk about things we didn't want Mom and Saul to overhear. We're too old for it now, probably, but if Lionel doesn't want to hang out with our friends, the least I can get him to do is hang out with me. Except I can't. He scrapes and rinses his plate, shaking his head. I'm pretty tired, but I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Maybe we can bike over to the reservoir. Yeah, okay, I say, working hard to make sure he can't hear the hurt in my voice. Because before, it would have been, we'll bike over to the reservoir, without the preface of maybe. I start to ask him what's wrong, if he's feeling okay or if I've done something to piss him off. My parents are still in the dining room, out of earshot and pouring the last of the sweet wine. But he brushes past me before I can get the words out, and I wonder if anyone else has noticed that my brother looks like the old Lionel and sounds like him too, but some part of him is missing.